people feel that spiritual care requires extra time, or they think it's an additional competency or something they do on top of everything else. So they therefore assume that it's time consuming and they can't do it. But of course, spiritual care isn't really an added competency. It's more a way of looking at your work. It's a way of engaging with people. Yes, there are certain things that you do, but actually good spiritual care just simply means that people begin to look at one another spiritually. And so when you're doing day-to-day things, you just do them spiritually. And so eventually you have a spiritual atmosphere and people get good quality of care. It's beginning to think differently. So within our culture, time tends to be a commodity. You know, you buy time, you use time, you waste time. Everything that you do with your money, you do with your time. But it's beginning to think that, well, maybe a better way to think about time is it's a gift. It's something that's given to you to give away. And if you're thinking that you're giving it to this person and they're giving you their time, then that's a completely different dynamic than I've got to get this finished as quickly as possible, otherwise my time will run out. It is that everything you do is spiritual. And so when you're helping somebody out of bed in the morning and when you're helping them to get dressed, that's actually spiritual care, because you no longer look at the act of helping out of bed as a task. Now it becomes something that you're doing for the person. And although you're doing exactly the same thing, actually because you're looking at the person differently, you're doing something differently, because you respond differently. You're gentler, you're more sensitive to where they are, and you just function differently. It's more about learning to see people as people rather than a series of tasks. And within that, once you begin to think that way, then issues of meaning and purpose and hope come into the picture, because you're listening for cues in conversations that you have with them. They may express that they have religious needs, or they may express that they used to garden a lot, for example, and that's the place where they find themselves. And so being a good spiritual carer means you're always attuned to the spiritual in all of its forms, be that religious or non-religious. That's what spiritual care looks like. That's why there is a sense in which the organisation has to recognise its own spirituality. Because all organisations have an ethos or a spirit. So if you want to deliver spiritual care, recognise that it begins in management and works its way down. So it's not just you and I need to be nice to each other. You actually have to have a structure within which people have time for one another, which these things are valued. Whereas oftentimes, well, with certain ways of delivering care, the tasks become the big thing. You've got to get so much done in a day and so much done, otherwise you're in trouble. Getting away from that, still getting so much done because it has to be done, but recognising that the task is not the point, that the person's the point. If they were serious about spiritual care, then they would begin, I imagine, in their induction processes. And so when you're taking in somebody new into the situation, then you teach them the heart of the organisation, right? So you tell them what the organisation is about, tell them what it means to be person-centred, and amidst that make it clear that spirituality is part of that, so that when they come out of their induction process, they already are sensitised to the general ethos of the organisation. And then on top of that, you have an educational strategy where spirituality is brought to the fore, and the practical significance of it is made very clear to people. Because it's kind of easy to make it the theoretical case. What does it mean for the things I do, I think, is the way that people want it to be put to them. So educational strategies and just creating a spirit within your organisation where these things become obvious.